The person who betrays you the hardest is usually not your enemy. It is the one you helped when nobody was watching, the one you lifted when life had crushed them, the one who cried in front of you, borrowed your strength, used your kindness, stood back up, and then acted like your hand was never there. That pain is different because you do not just lose a person, you lose the version of yourself that believed love, loyalty, and sacrifice would be enough to make someone grateful. But listen carefully. Their betrayal did not prove your kindness was weak. It proved your kindness had no boundaries. And until you understand this, you will keep helping people who secretly resent the hand that saves them. Stop for one moment and ask yourself a question you have been avoiding. Why does it hurt more when the betrayal comes from the person you helped? It is not because they walked away. People walk away every day. It is not because they changed. People change when pressure touches them. It hurts because you remember their weakest hour. You remember the phone call they made when nobody answered them. You remember the time you listened when your own heart was tired. You remember how you gave your hand, your time, your patience, your money, your advice, your forgiveness, and sometimes even your silence, just so they could stand again. And after they stood, they turned around and treated you like the ground beneath their feet. This is the wound that makes a kind person question kindness. This is the wound that makes a loyal heart whisper, maybe I should become cold. Maybe I should stop helping. Maybe good people are only punished for being good. But listen carefully. Do not let one ungrateful person turn your heart into a stone. A stone cannot be betrayed, yes, but a stone also cannot love, cannot grow, cannot feel the sunlight, cannot become a temple. The answer is not to destroy your kindness. The answer is to discipline it. Kindness without wisdom is like opening your door in the middle of the night to anyone who knocks, without asking who they are, where they came from, or what they carry in their hands. You may believe this is compassion, but sometimes it is simply a lack of inner protection. A person who has no gate will not only welcome guests, he will also welcome thieves. Many people do not betray you because you did too little for them. They betray you because you did too much before they had the character to respect it. You gave them access before they proved alignment. You gave them loyalty before they proved honesty. You gave them forgiveness before they showed responsibility. You gave them the best part of your spirit while they were still addicted to taking. And now you ask, how could they do this after all I did? They could do it because your help revealed your heart, but it did not create their character. This is one of the hardest lessons in life. Your generosity can feed a person, but it cannot make them grateful. Your love can comfort a person, but it cannot make them loyal. Your sacrifice can lift a person, but it cannot make them honorable. A person's response to your goodness does not come from your goodness. It comes from their inner condition. If their inner condition is empty, they will consume. If their inner condition is proud, they will forget. If their inner condition is immature, they will demand. If their inner condition is selfish, they will use. And if their inner condition is unhealed, they may even resent you for being the witness of their weakness. There are people who come to you when they are broken, but when they become strong again, they do not want to remember who saw them broken. Your face reminds them of the time they were helpless. Your presence reminds them of the season when they needed support. Instead of honoring you, they begin to push you away. Instead of saying, you were there for me, they tell themselves, I made it alone. Pride rewrites history so it does not have to bow before gratitude. Do not fight someone's false story. The mountain does not argue with the traveler who says the path was easy. The mountain knows the climb. The wind knows the struggle. Life knows what you gave. You do not need applause from the ungrateful to confirm that your help was real. But you must learn. You must learn that not everyone who is in pain deserves unlimited access to your peace. You must learn that not everyone who cries is ready to change. You must learn that some people do not want transformation. They only want temporary rescue. They want your shoulder, but not your truth. They want your comfort, but not your correction. They want your energy, but not your boundaries. They want your loyalty, but not your standards. This is where betrayal begins. Not when they leave, not when they lie, not when they speak against you. Betrayal begins when you repeatedly abandon your own wisdom to save someone from the consequences of their own choices. You saw the signs, you felt the discomfort, you noticed how they only came close when they needed something, you noticed how they disappeared when you needed peace, you noticed how their gratitude became smaller and their expectations became larger. You noticed how they respected your help but ignored your humanity. But you kept giving because you did not want to become the bad person. You kept forgiving because you feared being harsh. You kept saying yes because you were afraid that saying no would make them leave. So before they betrayed you, you betrayed yourself. This is not said to blame you. It is said to wake you. A wound becomes useful when it teaches you where you were asleep. Many kind people have a secret hunger. They want to be needed because being needed feels like being loved. But being needed is not the same as being valued. A person can need your help and still not respect your soul. A person can need your advice and still not honor your wisdom. A person can need your presence and still not protect your name when you are absent. Need is about their lack. Love is about their character. If you confuse need with love, you will keep choosing people who only look for you when their life is burning. You will become an emergency door, not a sacred presence. You will be called important only when they are helpless. You will be called selfish the moment you become unavailable. This is why the one who walks the path must learn the discipline of boundaries. A boundary is not a wall built from hatred. It is a gate built from self-respect. It says, I can care for you without losing myself. I can listen to you without carrying your entire life. I can help you stand without becoming responsible for every step you refuse to take. When you help without boundaries, you do not create respect. You often create entitlement. The first time you help, they say thank you. The second time they smile. The third time they expect it. The fourth time they plan around it. The fifth time they become offended when you hesitate. This is how a gift becomes a debt in the mind of an entitled person. Not a debt they owe you, a debt they believe you owe them. This is why you must be careful with repeated rescue. If you always save someone from the lesson, they will never respect the teacher. If you always remove the weight, they will never develop strength. If you always soften the consequence, they will never understand the cause. A true helper does not keep people weak. A true helper does not become the bridge forever. A true helper points to the bridge, walks with them for a while, and then allows them to cross with their own feet. If they refuse to walk, your carrying them is no longer compassion. It is enabling. And when you stop enabling, they may call it betrayal. This is the great confusion. The person who used your help as a hiding place will accuse you of cruelty when you remove the shelter. The person who survived on your silence will accuse you of changing when you finally speak. The person who enjoyed your lack of boundaries will call your self-respect arrogance. Let them speak. Their accusation is not always truth. Sometimes it is simply the sound of a person losing control over the version of you they benefited from. Do not be surprised when people become angry at your growth. They loved you more when you were easier to use. They loved the version of you that answered every call, forgave every insult, accepted every excuse, and carried every burden. They loved the version of you that did not ask for reciprocity. They loved the version of you that felt guilty for resting. But you are not here to be consumed. You are not here to be a lamp that burns itself to give light to those who refuse to open their eyes. You are not here to be the river for people who keep poisoning the water and then complain that it does not taste pure. Compassion must have clarity. Otherwise, it becomes self-harm with a beautiful name. Look deeply at the people who betrayed you after you helped them. In many cases, the betrayal was not sudden. It was a pattern you kept forgiving. They minimized your feelings before. They ignored your limits before. They used your kindness before. They apologized without changing before. They made promises in the language of emotion, but their habits continued to speak louder. You did not lose them in one moment. You lost yourself slowly while trying to keep them. The mind hates this truth because the mind wants a simple villain. It wants to say, they are bad, I am good. But wisdom asks for more. Wisdom asks, What did this relationship teach me about my own attachments? Where did I exchange peace for approval? Where did I call fear love? Where did I continue giving because I wanted to be chosen? These questions are not comfortable, but they are powerful. If you only blame them, you may repeat the same lesson with a different face. But if you study yourself, you become free. There is a pattern among deeply helpful people. They often help others in the way they wish someone had helped them. They become the listener they needed. They become the protector they lacked. They become the forgiving heart they once searched for. This is beautiful, but it also carries danger, because when your help comes from your own unhealed longing, you may give too much to people who remind you of your old pain. You think you are saving them, but part of you is trying to save your younger self. You think you are proving loyalty, but part of you is begging the past to finally become kind. This is why betrayal cuts so deeply. It is not only the present person who hurt you, it is the old wound opening again, saying, see, even when you give everything, they still leave. But the lesson is not that you are unworthy. The lesson is that giving everything to the wrong person will never create the right love. You cannot earn loyalty through overgiving. You cannot purchase respect with sacrifice. You cannot force gratitude by suffering silently. If a person needs you to bleed before they appreciate you, they are not safe for your heart. Some people will only understand the value of your presence when it is gone, but do not disappear to manipulate them. Disappear from places where your soul is being drained. Disappear from conversations where your pain is turned into drama. Disappear from relationships where every boundary becomes an argument. Disappear from the role of rescuer when rescue has become your prison. Distance is not always revenge. Sometimes distance is medicine. A monk does not hate the noise of the marketplace. He simply does not sleep there when his spirit needs silence. He does not hate the storm. He simply closes the window. He does not hate the thorn. He simply stops pressing his hand against it. In the same way, you do not need to hate the person who betrayed you. Hatred keeps you tied to them. Hatred makes them the center of your inner world. Hatred is still attachment, only wearing a darker robe. See them clearly, bless the lesson, remove your hand from the fire. The fire does not become harmless because you forgive it. The fire remains fire. Forgiveness cleans your heart. It does not require you to return to the flame. Many people misunderstand forgiveness. They think forgiving means restoring access. They think forgiving means answering the call again. They think forgiving means pretending the betrayal did not matter. No, forgiveness means you refuse to carry poison inside your own body. Trust means the other person has shown enough truth over time to be allowed near your peace again. Forgiveness can be immediate. Trust must be earned. If someone betrays you and then demands quick trust, be careful. They are more concerned with escaping guilt than repairing damage. They want the comfort of being accepted without the discipline of becoming different. They want you to heal fast so they do not have to sit with the reality of what they did. Do not rush your healing to make someone else comfortable. Let the wound speak. Let it show you where the boundary should have been. Let it show you which words you should have believed the first time. Let it show you which actions revealed the truth. Let it show you where you mistook potential for character. Potential is one of the most dangerous illusions for a kind heart. You do not fall in love with who they are. You fall in love with who they could become if they healed, if they matured, if they changed, if they finally saw your value. But you cannot build a life with possibility. You build a life with pattern. Potential is a seed. Pattern is the soil. If the soil is toxic, the seed will not save you. Stop giving loyalty to someone's imagined future while their present behavior is destroying you. Look at what is, not what they could be, not what they promised, not what they cried about, not what they said at midnight when they feared losing you. Look at what they do repeatedly when they believe you will stay. That is the truth. A person's real character is not revealed when they need you. It is revealed when they no longer need you. When they are desperate, they may be humble. When they are weak, they may be grateful. When they are lonely, they may be affectionate. But when they gain strength, choices, attention, success, or comfort, then you see what lives inside them. Do they remember the hand that helped them? Do they remain loyal when they have options? Do they protect your name when your usefulness has ended? Do they honor your presence when they are no longer afraid of being alone? This is where the mask falls. Do not curse the falling of the mask. It is painful, but it is protection. Better to see the face now than to spend years serving an illusion. There is another reason people betray those who help them. Help creates an imbalance. One person gave, the other received. A mature person turns this imbalance into gratitude. An immature person turns it into resentment. Why? Because receiving help can make them feel small. Instead of growing through humility, they defend themselves through pride. They begin to dislike the person who knows their weakness. They begin to act superior to escape the memory of dependence. This is why you must never use your help to control people, and you must never expect your help to guarantee closeness. Help freely, but release ownership. Do not say, even silently, after everything I did, you belong to me. No person belongs to you because you helped them. But also, no person has the right to abuse you because you help them. This is balance. Give with an open hand, but do not leave your heart unguarded. Serve without pride, but observe without denial. Be generous, but do not become available to every appetite. Some people are hungry for healing. Some people are hungry for attention. Some people are hungry for control. If you feed all hunger the same way, you will be devoured. Your kindness must learn discernment. Discernment is not suspicion. It is not seeing evil everywhere. It is seeing clearly. It is the calm ability to say, this person is suffering, but I cannot be their solution. It is the strength to say, I care, but I will not carry what they refuse to carry. It is the wisdom to say, I can forgive, but I will not reopen the door until there is real change. Real change is not dramatic speech. Real change is not tears. Real change is not a long message sent at night. Real change is not temporary kindness after being confronted. Real change is pattern repaired by discipline. It is accountability without excuses. It is consistency when there is no reward. It is respect even when you say no. It is humility even when they are not desperate. Watch for this. The person who only becomes kind when they are losing you is not necessarily changing. They may only be negotiating access. Do not let loneliness make you accept negotiations in place of transformation. Many betrayals repeat because the betrayed person returns too quickly. They miss the good moments. They miss the familiar voice. They miss being needed. They miss the version of the person that appeared in the beginning. So they open the door before the other person has learned the lesson. And when the same wound happens again, they call it fate. It is not fate. It is an unguarded gate. Your heart is not a public road. Everyone should not have a path through it. Some people belong in your prayers, not in your daily life. Some people belong in your memory, not in your future. Some people belong at a distance where you can wish them well without giving them the weapon of access. This is not cruelty. This is maturity. When you are young in spirit, you think love means closeness. When you become wise, you understand love sometimes requires distance. You can love someone and not trust them. You can forgive someone and not return. You can wish someone healing and still refuse to be part of their chaos. The heart can be open without the door being open. Never let anyone convince you that a boundary means your love was fake. Sometimes the boundary proves your love is finally healthy. Think of a garden. If you love the garden, you do not allow every animal to run through it. You do not allow weeds to grow because you feel guilty removing them. You do not pour all the water in one corner while the rest of the plants die. Love requires protection. Love requires order. Love requires the courage to remove what destroys growth. Your life is a garden. Your attention is water. Your time is sunlight. Your energy is soil. Be careful where you pour it. Those who betray you after receiving your help often teach you the cost of pouring into broken containers. You poured and poured and poured, not because they were becoming full, but because there were holes they refused to repair. You blamed yourself for not giving enough. But the problem was never the amount of water. The problem was the brokenness of the vessel. You cannot fill a life that refuses to heal its leaks. This is why you must stop measuring your goodness by how much you endure. Endurance is powerful when it is tied to purpose. Endurance is destructive when it is tied to disrespect. There is no honor in staying where your spirit is being slowly erased. There is no wisdom in proving loyalty to someone who proves carelessness. There is no spiritual greatness in allowing repeated harm and calling it patience. Patience is not permission for people to destroy you slowly. Be patient with growth. Be patient with honest mistakes. Be patient with people who are trying, but do not be patient with repeated disrespect disguised as struggle. Do not be patient with manipulation because it comes with tears. Do not be patient with betrayal because the person has a sad story. A sad story may explain behavior, but it does not excuse continued harm. This is important. Many kind people become trapped by someone's pain. They say they had a difficult childhood. They were hurt before. They are going through stress. They do not know better. Compassion understands the wound, but wisdom still observes the behavior. You can understand why someone became dangerous and still choose not to stand in front of them. Understanding is not the same as access. A snake may bite because it is afraid. This does not mean you place it inside your sleeve. When you are betrayed, do not rush to become harder. Become clearer. Hardness closes the heart. Clarity protects it. Hardness says, no one will ever come close again. Clarity says, only those with respect may come close. Hardness says, I will never help anyone. Clarity says, I will help from wisdom, not from wounds. Hardness says, people are evil. Clarity says, people reveal different levels of consciousness, and I must respond accordingly. This is the path. Not bitterness, not blindness, awareness. The next time someone asks for your help, pause. Do not rush because their urgency touched your guilt. Ask yourself, do they want support or escape? Have they taken responsibility? Is this the first time or the 10th time? Will my help strengthen them or keep them dependent? Am I giving from peace or from fear? Am I afraid they will dislike me if I say no? Am I trying to prove I am good? These questions will save you from many unnecessary wounds. A calm pause is often the difference between compassion and self-betrayal. You do not need to answer every call immediately. You do not need to solve every problem presented to you. You do not need to explain every boundary to someone committed to misunderstanding it. You do not need to carry the emotional reaction of people who benefited from your silence. Let them be disappointed. Disappointment is not death. Sometimes disappointment is the beginning of their maturity. If you keep protecting people from disappointment, they may never develop respect. You must become comfortable being misunderstood by people who no longer have permission to use you. This is difficult for a good heart. A good heart wants everyone to know its intention. It wants to say, I am not cruel, I am not selfish, I still care. But the more you explain to someone who wants control, the more they will twist your words into ropes. They will pull you back into debate. They will make your boundaries seem like an attack. They will turn your self-respect into a crime. Sometimes peace begins when explanation ends. Your life does not need to be defended in the courtroom of people who already decided to judge you. Let your actions be clean. Let your heart be steady. Let your boundaries stand. Stay awake in that deep silence.